Now, Sunil Gavaskar, the great Indian former captain, has come up with something rather bizarre, absurd, interesting. Well, you judge that. I'm going to tell you what he's come up with. But before we get to what exactly Sunny Ji has said, and if at all there is something that becomes the norm going forward, we'll have to wait and watch. Before we talk about that, we need to talk about this particular instance and because it is with regards to what happened in this present frame that you see on your screen right now, that Sunny Ji made these comments. Now, what exactly happened? Now, if you saw that game between the Chennai Super Kings and the Lucknow Super Giants, which was played at the Chepauk, this, by the way, is a grab from the second last over when Chennai were defending their total. There were two back-to-back white balls that we saw, and if I'm not wrong, it was Hungergekar who was bowling at that time. Now, what happened exactly was that there were two back-to-back wides that were being bowled, and Sunny Ji happened to be in the comm box. Also, what happened was, after the match got over, Mahendra Singh Dhoni was clearly unhappy with his bowlers, who gave away as many as 13 runs in extras in this particular match, and there were these two back-to-back white balls that were being bowled. Now, what happened? Sunny Ji was in the commentary box and he came up with something which has rather looked bizarre to many. Some are calling it interesting. You judge for yourself what you have to make of it. But he said, well, you got to start penalizing the bowlers if at all they end up missing their lines too often. What exactly did he say? He said that after bowling 2 to 3 consecutive wides, the batter should get a free hit. This is what Sunny Ji said. Why? Because yesterday we saw two wides being bowled back to back. Is it really fair? Also, let me, before I cast my opinion on it, let me rather just say what exactly he means over here. What he exactly says is that, listen, you need to get the bowlers to stick to their lines and keep more focus as far as bowling to the wickets is concerned, because often he says players and bowlers especially end up losing their lines. Now, in order to curb that, in order to for bowlers to focus more on bowling the right lines, this bringing in something like this, a penalization like this, could possibly have the bowlers focus much more on their lines. That's what Sunny Ji means over here when he says that you have a benefit coming out of it if at all there's a penalty like this. But he says if not, then batters should start rather getting free hits, is what he suggested. Is it really fair if you ask me? Well, no. To be very honest, and to begin with, I will say that the format, let's say you're talking about the T20 format, it is anyway a slam bang format, a format that favors the batters, the rules of the game, the many stadium dimensions also, if you were to go by it. Let's say the Firoz Shah Kotla, the erstwhile Firoz Shah Kotla, I should say, the present Arun Jaitley Stadium. Look at some of the grounds that you have around the country and overall as well. Let's say, some of the grounds are extremely small anyway, so there's hardly anything for the bowlers as far as the game is concerned. Something like, when dew comes into the picture, again, it's the bowlers who get the beating. It's the bowlers who end up missing their lines because the ball gets difficult to grip. So all of these things put together, there's already so much that is going against the bowlers. Why then come up with something which is absolutely unintentional? If you're a bowler never intends to be bowling those wides intentionally. So the bowlers anyway trying their level best, and if at all, like we saw yesterday when the Chennai bowlers were trying to bowl outside the off stump, going for that wide Yorker, missed it a few times. As a bowler, there's only so much that you can do at times on batter friendly tracks. So when you're trying that, and it's only human to make errors. Yes, they're professionals and you expect them to be nailing Yorkers, to be getting things right, absolutely, but you've got to cut them some slack as well. It's not easy at all times to be bowling those tight lines. So having said that, that's my sense of this suggestion that Sunny Ji has come up with, that 2 to 3 white balls and a batsman gets a free hit. Well, I think it's too harsh, and that's what I think. There were a couple of other commentators, the likes of Ian Bishop, if I'm not wrong, was there in the compox, and he wasn't too impressed with this suggestion made by Sunny Bhai. But let us know. You always have an opinion as well, as fans, as people who consume the sport just as much as we do. Do let us know in the comment section what you make of this view. Would you rather call it bizarre? Would you call it interesting? Well, you have all the right to choose as to what you have to feel about this suggestion. I've made my opinion very clear. I've told you what I feel about it, but I'll be looking forward to hearing from you as to what you guys have to say about this suggestion that's been made by Sunny Bhai.